will start by grabbing the number 2 guard with the lever closed all the way, and then I'm gonna just debulk about 2 fingers from the ear or above the ear, and that's just where I'm gonna debulk because that is where I know I will be setting in my short guidelines. So I just want to debulk quickly around this area so that we can better see exactly where our guidelines will be laid down. And next I'm going to continue debulking with my number 4 guard lever closed all the way, and I'm going to just debulk a little bit higher than what I did with the number 2. And again guys, this is just so that when we set in our guidelines with the shorter with the bald guidelines, we don't have so much hair hanging over the guidelines and we could better see them being set in. Next I'm gonna come in with the clipper lever closed all the way and no guard, and what I'm gonna do is set in my first guideline right here a tad bit higher or a tad bit above the ear, and I'm gonna make sure it curves around the ear and trying to stay low as we reach the back side, and then we're just gonna make sure that it connects in the exact same position from where we started on the opposite side. Moving forward, I will open the lever on the clipper still with no guard, and what I'm gonna do now is lay down my next guideline coming up about a ½ inch higher than the previous line that we laid down, and we're just gonna make sure that that it runs parallel to that previous line, and then just make sure you set it in as clean and noticeable as possible. Next, I'm gonna grab my number 1 guard, and still leaving that lever open all the way, I'm gonna lay down my next guideline. Again, like before guys, I'm only gonna come up about a ½ inch higher than the previous line that I laid down. And keep in mind guys that we don't want to set in these lines really harsh. We're just kind of laying them down in a casual manner, letting the clipper do the work without applying so much pressure onto the head. Just laying it down in a soft, casual manner until we get it in there as clean as possible. Next, I'm grabbing my number 2 guard still with that lever open, and I'm gonna come in and basically start trying to connect the side length to the top. So what I'm essentially doing is, as I come up only a tad bit higher than the previous line, instead of focusing on trying to set in another guideline, all I'm doing is trying to blend outwards in a C-scoop motion manner so that we can start trying to connect the side length to the top. Next, I'm grabbing the number 3 guard still with that lever open, and same like before, like what we did with the number 2, we're just trying to connect the side length to the top. So with these guards, since we're already around the area where the head starts to curve, that's where you're gonna try to kind of visualize the head as it's a square shape, and you're gonna try to take that guard up in a vertical manner and not follow it to the top so that you don't take off too much length on top. Then to connect the rest of the hair, I'm gonna angle his head a little bit, so you see here I'll be able to put the comb in, and then I could pick it up in a vertical manner, and then I'm gonna just trim away any loose hair that hangs outside of the comb so that we connect the side length to the top. And now we're pretty much left with these 3 guidelines that need blending out. I'm gonna start with the uppermost guideline, and for this one I'm gonna grab my number 1 guard, and I'm gonna position the lever on a 3rd quarter position, and all that is the lever positioned right in between the lever open halfway and all the way open. And I'm gonna use this position to try and take out most of that top guideline as much as possible. Keep in mind guys that his hair is really dense and he has really thick hair, so whatever the clipper didn't take out with it at 3/4, all I did was open the lever all the way and then just continued the same method trying to smooth out that line as much as possible. So you see, as I moved towards the back, again I positioned the lever back into that 3/4 position, and then again whatever it didn't take out completely, I just opened the lever all the way to finish taking it out. So do keep that in mind guys, that when you're dealing with really thick hair, you will need more lever positions than usual to finish blending out these guidelines as smooth as possible. So moving forward, we'll start trying to blend out this middle guideline. For this one, it's going to take 2 lever positions, first with the half clip and then the number 1 guard. And both of them, we're going to leave that lever positioned on that 3/4. So first I'm gonna start with this one, the half clip on that 3rd quarter position lever, and I'm gonna start trying to smooth out that middle guideline as much as possible. But you'll notice that it's gonna leave a little dark line right above it, but don't worry, just try and focus on just smoothing out the initial start of this middle guideline. And then right now we'll come back, like I said, with the number 1 guard with that lever position to 3/4, and then just finish blending it out to the top. So as you see here, we're gonna focus on removing the rest of that middle guideline. So we're gonna throw on that number 1 guard, still leaving that lever on the 3/4 position, and continue the process as we did before, just using the corners of the clipper and then just going in, attacking these guidelines in a detailed fashion, and then just smoothing them out as much as possible so that we can finish creating that full blend. And now for our last guideline, it's going to take 3 lever positions. First, lever closed, then open halfway, and then open all the way to take out this last guideline all the way. So first, with it closed, I'm going to start trying to smooth out the guideline as much as possible, but only staying right there at the initial start of the guideline and not trying to go any higher. And since you know that it's kind of creating a guideline right above it, that's when we will just open the lever halfway and then just continue blending a tad bit higher. And then whatever little dark area that creates, we're gonna just open the lever all the way to finish trying to smooth in this guideline into the rest of the fade. And do keep in mind, guys, since this last guideline does take 3 lever positions to take out, I'll break down the head into 3 sections, being from the right side to the back side and then the left side of the head. And here, guys, I noticed that he still had some little dark areas left behind, and that's because, like I said before, he has really thick hair. But don't worry, don't continue trying to blend up too high because you will take up the fade up too high. So we'll come back in a little bit to do our touch-up work after we've just finished these steps. So again, guys, we'll move on to the back side, starting with the clipper lever closed, then I open it halfway, and then I open it all the way, gradually opening it up as I move up a little bit higher on that last guideline. Then we'll just repeat the exact same process on the left side to finish blending out that last guideline. And now, like I said, since we were still left with some dark areas, I came in with my half clip with that lever positioned on that 3rd quarter spot, and starting from there, I just went around looking for any little inconsistencies in the fade and then just blended them right out. I started with it at 3/4, but then if I felt like some areas were a little darker that were in higher spots, all I did was open the lever all the way and just took it right out. So that's just one thing you're gonna keep in mind, is just attack these dark areas first with it at 3/4, and then if you feel like it's not doing nothing, then just close the lever a tad bit till you actually start seeing some blending going on. And then or if you feel like it's taking out too much, then just open the lever a little bit more so that you don't take out too much of that dark area. So just to get some practice in, guys, and then just get comfortable using that lever play, since it is essential when it comes to taking out these guidelines. And next, to take out that bottom of the hair, first I'll start with using my trimmers and start taking out the uppermost part of the bottom of the hair. And I do this so that when I come in and take out the rest of the bottom of the hair, I'll be able to distinguish a little faint line. And that's basically just gonna serve us as another guideline, so that when we come in with our electric shavers, that line right there is gonna tell us when to stop, so that we don't blend or shave up too much into the fade. So then just shave as close as possible down all the way to the skin, and as you reach that little faint line that we left behind, just try and release pressure on the electric shaver so that we don't create any harsh lines into the fade. Then moving forward, to start doing our lighten work, I like to spray a little bit of spritz onto the hairline so that we can blow dry and lock the hair into place. This stuff really gets the hair really hard so that it doesn't move around when you come in with the trimmers to set in your hard lines. And then what I like to do, and then I'll start with one side. In this case, I started on the left side, and then I set in my vertical bar, and then I kind of stepped back and visualized the middle horizontal line kind of connecting to that vertical bar. and then I just kind of set it in roughly in there, and then I just kind of went back and forth until I detailed it and got it as straight as possible across the forehead. And next, before I use my straight razor, I like to apply some sort of lubrication, like some shaving gel. And then I just came in with my straight razor and kind of first just shaved everything downward to take most of the hair off. And then I came back and kind of pushed up against my vertical bars and did my little detailing, trying to get my lines as sharp as possible. And then after that, I just kind of reverse shaved everything else so that we can get that much closer to the skin, resulting in a longer lasting shave. And now this part is optional, but if you do like using hair enhancements, I mixed half water, half Kiss Express into a portable air gun, and then just kind of lightly sprayed it on there. And then to style his hair, all I used was some texturizing powder, just to kind of really massage it into the roots, and then just played with the hair until I found it a great desired style that I liked. But that's pretty much it, guys. Here's the before, and now here's the after. I hope y'all guys enjoyed this tutorial on a low skin fade with a textured top. If y'all did, please don't forget to like this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if y'all ain't already.